Okay, so you might get a block or a pillow to sit down on so we can begin our initial meditation of breathing. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat.
Is that required?
No, not required. You can sit straight on the floor if you want. If you want to sit on the floor kind of like this in that deer pose we did the other day, you can, or you can sit cross-legged. Whatever works for you, actually. You don't have to be on a pillow. You don't have to be on a block. Whatever is comfortable. Some people will start off kind of like sitting on top of their legs. So whatever you want. Okay? So mostly what I want you to do is sit back. You can sit back on your heels. You can sit between them. You can sit on your bum. Whatever is comfortable to you. Why don't we inhale the shoulders up. And then exhale our shoulders back down. I'm kind of far away, huh? Let me move the camera just a little closer to me. We moved it backwards to capture the whole rug, but I think it's too far. I kind of seem like I'm really distant. There, that's a little better, right? Not as far. Okay, so inhale your shoulders up, and then exhale your shoulders back down. And just start getting into your breath, okay? And just start breathing through your belly, in and out of your belly. And as you breathe, I want your breath to become expansive. So start expanding your ribs. And exhale, pulling your belly button in as you exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Next time you inhale, expand your whole chest. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Why don't we do some shoulder rolls? So inhale your shoulders up to your ears and then exhale them back down. Inhaling up. Exhaling back down. Inhaling up. Exhaling back down. Then let's reverse that. Inhaling up the back and towards the shoulders and then back, or towards the ears and then back down the front. Inhaling the shoulders back and up to the ears and then back down. And then inhaling them back and up and then back down. Let's do some quickie cat-cows here to start to warm up the spine. So inhale, pull your chest forward, tilt your hips backwards, pull your chest forward. And then exhale, reverse all that, curl your spine, place your hands on your knees and pull your back backwards towards the wall behind you. Inhale, pull your chest through, tilting your hips backwards. And then exhale, go ahead and reverse that. And then one more time, inhale. And then exhale, curling backwards, reversing, reversing. Yay! Let's go ahead and get up on our feet. And we'll just start doing some gentle movement to get our body warmed up before we go into our flow. So go ahead and get into a strong mountain pose. So if you look at my toes, you can look at your own toes and see the same thing. All of my toes are lifted, and then I'm pulling my kneecaps up slightly. And when I do that, slightly bend your knees and pull your belly button in at the same time. That engages all these core muscles, right? And that tilts your tailbone slightly down. And then take your shoulders, roll them up and put them back down on your back so that your back, your shoulders are lined up with your hips, right? And then move your head back into the back plane of your body so that you're taking up as much space behind as you can. Go ahead and inhale your hands up. And then exhale down. Why do you say that? I don't do this one live. This one's on Zoom. Inhale up. Exhale down. And then inhale up. Exhale down. Go ahead and separate your feet slightly, and let's just keep our hips stationary while we spin our body back and forth. Kind of like your arms are like, they're like noodles or ribbons just going across your body. Just warming it up gently. Nice. Kind of feels good sometimes to just do that kind of warming up. Gentle movement. Okay, so go ahead and stand still. Take your left hand or your right, whichever you choose. You can mirror me, you can watch, or you can listen to my ears. So I'm putting my left hand, which might look like right in your screen, and go ahead and take your right hand overhead and just kind of create a nice long body stretch, creating like a letter C. My left hand is crawling down my left leg as I do that. And then just peel your right shoulder back a little bit to expose your chest. Inhale and exhale gently. Go ahead and stand up on the inhale. And then on the exhale, place your right hand down. And on the inhale, bring your left hand overhead. Curl to the other side. Trailing your left hand down the outside of your left leg, pulling, or right, sorry. And then pulling your left shoulder back. Now I'm confusing myself. Whichever one was the one you didn't do, right? One more inhale. And then exhale, place that down. Inhale our hands up. And then exhale our hands down. Inhale our hands up. We're going to move into our first sun salutations. Inhale up. And then exhale, slightly bend your legs as you tilt your tailbones forward. I'm going to move to the side so you can see it. Okay. And then go ahead with a flat back. You're descending down, right? And then when you go as far as your body will let you, then allow your head to curl down. Inhale into a flat spine, placing your hands somewhere on your legs. And then exhale, place your hands on the floor and allow your head to descend. Inhale, bring your hands out to the side with a flat back. Climb all the way to the top. And then exhale, bring it back down into prayer pose. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, and then inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the mat, allowing your crown to drop. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale all the way down. And then bring your hands out to the side, reverse swan dive all the way up to the top. And then exhale, bring your hands into prayer pose. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Place your hands on the floor and let's move back into a plank pose. So we're carrying the theme of tapas again, where we're creating heat. So I want you to be in plank pose for 5 breaths. And while you're in plank pose, you're pulling your heels behind you as you're pulling your chest forward, all the while pulling your belly button in up against your spine and pulling your shoulder blades together while you're pulling your collarbones apart. That's a lot of alignment cueing. Do your best. You've already breathed twice, so let's do 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale, descend down to the mat. Okay. So that was Chaturanga Dandasana. I didn't cue you for that, but when you descend down to the mat, you want to pull your elbows into your ribs. So with our elbows on the ground, or our hands on the ground, let's slide our hands forward and place our elbows right where our hands were. So right now, we're laying in Sphinx pose. And just in this moment, take the time to clip your elbows back and pull your chest forward, activating all of those muscles in the middle of the spine. And just keep on rising up the chest and pulling it forward, pulling your shoulder blades down your back, pulling your ears away from your shoulders. And when you do that, you activate all those muscles along the middle of your spine. Remember those muscles, because those are the ones that are going to lift you up when you go into baby cobra. So go ahead and lay back down. Place your hands underneath your shoulders. Inhale your shoulders up. And as you rise up, exhale them back down and rise into baby cobra, pulling your shoulders back, activating all those muscles. Exhale back down. Inhale your shoulders up and pull them down your spine as you lift up. And then exhale back down. One more inhale up. And then exhale as you rise. And then move back into child's pose. Place your baby toes together. Widen your knees apart. And just sit back on your heels, pushing the floor away with your hands. And concentrate on creating length and creating space for breathing. This is a nice resting pose to return to if ever you're feeling very tired or you're feeling like the routine is too much. Inhale. And then exhale. Inhale, tuck your toes, and let's move back into our first downward facing dog of the day. So to move back, downward facing dog, move your hips back in space, keep your legs bent, and push the floor away with your hands. Hollow out your armpits, pull your elbow or your shoulders away from your ears, and create a suction cup into the mat with your hands. And then start walking out your legs and breathing with sound, creating that Darth Vader sound in your voice, in your breath, while you're doing the Ujjayi breath. In and out of your nose, constricting the back of your throat. And keep on pushing the mat away. Very nice. Rise up onto your tippy toes. On the inhale, and then exhale, your heels back down, pushing your hips back. Your heels do not have to touch the floor. Inhale up onto your tippy toes. Push your hips back and down as you lift your hips back up to the sky, allowing your heels to descend. Rise up your heels, rise up your hips. And then on the exhale, push your hips back into space, high up in the air, and allow your heels to descend. Inhale, bring your right foot forward in between your hands and leave your left foot up on your toes. Your left leg is high behind you, so it's straight behind you. And then rise up into crescent. And then in crescent pose, I want you to sink as low as you're able to as you're rising your arms at the same time. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale. Bring your hands down to the mat. Bring your left foot forward to join your right foot. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale back down. Inhale all the way up. And then exhale, hands to prayer at the chest center. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Place your hands on the mat. Take your left foot and place it back. And then rise up again into crescent pose. Inhale. And then exhale, place your hands on the mat. Move back into downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale, push your hips up and back. Inhale, bring your left foot forward in between your hands. Rising up on your tippy toes in crescent pose again. And bring your hands up to the sky. Inhale. And then exhale, sink into your hips. Inhale. Exhale, sink as your hands are raised high above your hands. One more inhale. And then exhale, hands down to the floor. Bring your right foot forward. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, reverse one, all the way to the top. And then exhale into prayer at the heart center. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hands to the floor. Bring your right foot back into crescent again. Lift your hands up. Inhale and then exhale. Hands down. And then move back into downward facing dog. 3 cleansing breaths. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to repeat all of that, 1 breath per move. So inhale your foot forward, and then exhale, and then inhale your hands up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale your hands down, move back into downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale your left foot forward into crescent, rise your hands up. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, hands down, bring your right foot forward. Inhale into a flat spine, exhale down. Inhale, rise your hands up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, exhale, hands down. Inhale, your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Bring your left foot back. Rise up. Exhale, inhale, exhale, hands down, move back into downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale, bring your left foot forward. Actually, should be right foot forward, sorry. Inhale up, exhale, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, bring your left foot forward. Inhale into a flat spine, exhale down. Inhale all the way up, and then exhale, hands to prayer at the chest. Let's repeat that one more time. We're building heat. Remember, tapas is burning away the impurities. Inhale, exhale, hands down, then inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, bring your right foot back. Inhale, up into crescent. Exhale, down. Move back into downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, bring your right foot forward, staying up on your toes in crescent. Inhale your hands up. Exhale, hands down. Bring your left foot forward to join your right foot into a half flat back. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer pose at the heart. Inhale. Exhale, hands down. Inhale, hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Bring your left foot back. Rise up. Exhale, hands down, move back into prayer pose. To a downward facing dog. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, bring your left foot forward into crescent. Bring your hands up. Exhale, your hands down. Bring your right foot to join your left. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. And then inhale, flat spine, all the way up. And then exhale, hands at heart center. Take a moment to catch your breath. Set a little intention for the remainder of your practice. Now we're going to go through our next phase. We'll be going through another sun salutation, but we're going to include chair pose. So inhale your hands up, and then exhale, bend your legs back as if you're sitting in a chair, hands to the floor. So your fingertips are on the floor, chest is up. Inhale your arms up. Let's hold this for 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more inhale, and then exhale, fold over, swan dive over your legs. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale, hands flat on the floor as we move back into plank pose. Switch it over to the right. Balancing on your right hand, pushing your hips up into the sky. Raise your left hand up into the air. You have the option to keep it in the air, or you can even bring it alongside your ears overhead for an additional challenge. Yogi's choice. 2 more breaths. Final breath. Exhale. Place the left hand in the center of the mat. Move over to the left, balancing on your left foot. Pull your hand up to your hips, rotating your shoulders back. Lift your right hand in the air. Balancing on your left hand as you're pushing your hips up into the air. And you can also bring it overhead if you want that additional challenge.
Oh, come back.
One more inhale. Exhale, place that hand down. Set up your hands for push-up. Move forward, Chaturanga Dandasana, lower down, elbows into the ribs. Inhale, pull it through into upward facing dog. And then exhale into downward facing dog. Take a moment to catch your breath 5 times. You can extend your dog as much as you want to. Each time you get into downward facing dog, you might feel more open. Pulling your shoulders away from the spine or from the ears. Pulling your shoulder blades together on the back. Pulling your belly button into the spine as you raise your hips high in the air. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, look forward. Bend your legs and either walk or hop up to your hands and stay in that crouched position of the chair and then rise up. Now we're going to do some twists. So go ahead and place your hands in prayer pose. Bring them down to heart center. Sit back more if you're able to, rising your chest at the same time, pulling your belly button into the spine. Inhale. On the exhale, twist to the left or the right and place your hands so that your right elbow or your left is flipped over the opposite leg. Pushing your hands together, you can twist, pulling your top shoulder back. Okay, keep your knees together, keep your knees even, keep your hips moving backwards in space. Let's do 2 more breaths together. One more breath. And then exhale, bring your hands to heart center, lifting up the chest. Inhale. Exhale, go to the other side, clipping your lower elbow on the outside of the opposite leg. In my case, it's my left over my right. Keep your knees together and even. Push your hands together, pulling your top shoulder back. Keep on working it. Building heat. One more inhale. Exhale, return to heart center, and then inhale, stand up. And then exhale, pull your hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale. Let's do another pose that builds heat and builds strength in the hips. We'll call it goddess pose. So go ahead and inhale. And on the exhale, just separate your legs. And we'll first start off in star. So you're going to have your toes not parallel, but pointed out to the corners of your mat. Bring your hands up. So you're creating like a letter X with your body. Pull your belly button into the spine, tip your tailbone down. And just pretend like you're in mountain pose, but you're creating a letter X. Feel how strong that is, pulling your shoulder blades together in the back. Now, inhale. Now, on the exhale, bend your knees towards your toes. So line up your knees with your toes. So you should be able to see the outline of your foot. Move back into your back plane. And what you want is like you've got a string that's connecting you to the ground underneath your pelvis and connecting your head to the sky. Okay, and then you can bring your hands back down. You can have them out to the side like straight, or you can create like a goddess look with your hands where you've got your hands turned up. Your hands are turned up towards the sky. You can have them in a receiving motion. You can pick the fingers that you want to put together. So you can have the mudra where your middle finger is touching your thumb, right? Pulling your shoulders back and down. And if you want to do a little bit of engagement of your side waist muscles, you can just kind of move your shoulders back and forth, keeping your hips the same.
Moving, right? Yeah.
And keep concentrating on pulling your knees backwards and pulling your tailbone down at the same time. And then moving your body back and forth. Woohoo! Okay, go ahead and place your hands on your knees and then sink a little bit lower and push against your thighs and allow yourself to sink even lower. Don't move your booty back, keep it anchored. So you can, and then you can start just moving back and forth. So bending one leg, straightening the other, engaging those quadricep muscles. Remember to keep your tailbone tucked, pulling your belly button in. Whoa, that's a lot of heat building right there, isn't it? Frankly, I like this a lot. I think this feels cool. Okay, nice. Let's go ahead and find stillness, move back into goddess pose. And then straighten out the legs into stars. And then exhale, let's move our feet and hands back to center, back into prayer pose. Ah! Now we're going to integrate some other standing poses. Let me check the time. Not that we are short on time, because we're not. Actually, we're doing great with time. It gives me more time to add more poses. So go ahead and stand in mountain pose. Inhale. Exhale your hands down, then inhale your hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale your hands down. And then take your left foot and place it back behind you in warrior one positioning. And go ahead and create some space. So you might want to create a situation where you're pulling your right foot more to the right side of your mat and your left foot more to the left side. Your heel is anchored on the foot. Your toes are pointed forward on your back foot. Go ahead and rise up. So in warrior one, we have our hip bones facing the same direction as our torso. Okay, I'll turn this way so you can see it better. So see how my hip bones are like so. It's hard to tell on this mat because it's a round mat. But in warrior one, just like you did in crescent, your left leg is very strong and straight behind you. You're pulling your belly button in, tilting your tailbone down, and allowing your right leg to sink. Bending that front knee deeply. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale, open up into warrior two. So in warrior two, we're pulling that belly button against the spine. I'll show you the side image of it, right? We're pulling the belly button in. We're bending that right front leg deeply. Left leg is straight behind us, parallel to the short side of the mat. Bring our hands up, pulling our shoulder blades together behind us. I'm going to turn to the side now so you can see a good angle of it this way. Okay, so just work it by looking over your right fingertips. Okay, pulling that belly button against the spine, tilting that tailbone down, kind of pushing your hips forward in the same direction as the front of your body is. Okay, just enjoy opening up this part of the hip, the inner muscles of the hip. And then inhale into reverse warrior, reaching high into the sky. Reaching, reaching, reaching. And then exhale, straighten out your front leg and let's move our way into triangle pose. You can place your hand on your shin if you want, all the way down to your floor, on the floor behind you. That's fine. In the beginning, you might put your hand on your hip so that you can work your shoulder backwards without involving your hand. And push your hips in the same direction as your torso, so forward. And then raise up your hand. There you go. Beautiful triangle. And just concentrate on moving the crown of your head towards the direction of your foot in front, creating a parallel experience of your torso to the floor. So kind of lifting up out of your lower back in order to achieve that, spiraling the muscles of your supportive leg, of your right leg in front, so that your kneecap is facing the sky. And then pressing your body back like it's against an invisible wall. Inhale. And then exhale. Bring your left foot down. Shorten your stance slightly, pulling your left foot forward, or your back foot forward. Inhale to a flat spine, pulling the crown of your head forward. And then exhale down, creating pyramid pose. If you want to increase the intensity of this pose, you can place your hands in prayer pose behind your back. My caution to you is just watch what your elbows and wrists are doing. Watch what your shoulders are doing. Pull your right hip back as you pull your left hip forward. Folding over that right leg. Very nice. On the inhale, using the muscles of your core, rise up. And then if you want to, you can situate your hips again. So you're pushing your hips slightly forward, rising up out of your hips as you curl your spine slightly back, looking at the ceiling over you. Very nice. And then exhale, unravel from that, bend your right leg, return back to warrior two. Very nice. And then straighten out that leg, turn both of your feet forward, turn your left toes towards the other side of your mat. We're setting up for warrior one again. So go ahead and place your hands on the floor and then set your legs up for warrior one. Okay, so you've got your right toes kind of turned at a 45-degree angle in the same direction as your left foot. Your left foot is facing the short side of the other side of your mat, the back of your mat, if you will. Then go ahead and rise up. So again, our hips are going in the same direction as our torso. Our right leg is very straight behind us. Okay, bending our left leg deeply, rising up. Pulling our shoulders down and away from our ears, pulling our belly button against the spine. Inhale, reach high. And then exhale, open up into warrior two. You might have to readjust your feet, reorganize them. That's totally okay. Using the muscles of the outside of your legs to pull your left knee back towards your baby toes. Holding your belly button in and pushing your hips in the direction of your body. And looking out over your fingertips to the left. Giving it your drishti gaze, which is a steady gaze. Finding a fixed point beyond your fingers, if you will. Sinking lower into that leg by bending the left knee more deeply. And then inhale, reverse your warrior, reaching for the sky. Keep your hips in the same position while you're doing that. One more inhale, reach. And then exhale, return your hands back to warrior two. Hands, straighten out that front leg. And then we start to reach forward over our left leg to go into triangle pose. So pushing our left hand forward and over that leg, reaching either for our calf, our shin, our ankle, or the floor behind you is fine. Take the time to put your hand on your right hip and pull your right shoulders back as you spiral your left leg so that your kneecap is facing the sky, pushing your hips slightly forward in the direction of your body to move your tailbone towards the floor. Then raise your right hand. Focus on moving your head towards the direction of your left foot, creating length, allowing a parallel experience of your torso to the ground. Very nice. You might find it's easier one side versus the other. My left side is always more open, always more flexible. Inhale. Then exhale, place your right foot on the floor. Shorten your stance slightly as we set up for pyramid pose. Pulling our left hip backwards as we pull our right hip forward to square off our hip. Our right foot, the heel is on the ground, the toes are pointed forward at a 45-degree angle. Our left foot hasn't moved, it's still facing the back side of the mat. Inhale towards your toes, your left toes, and then exhale, descend down over that left leg. You can put your hands in reverse prayer if that's available to you, or you can leave them on the ground, it's up to you. The motion is always moving the head forward as you rotate your hips so that your right hip bone is coming forward as your left hip is going backwards, and allowing yourself to fall over that left leg. Find ease in your efforts. And then inhale, rise up with all the strength you can muster. And then if you want to, rise out of your back, push your hips slightly forward as you curl your back, creating a baby arch in the back, looking up at the sky, having your heart center drawn upwards. Inhale. And then exhale. Bend that left leg. Right? And then let's go ahead and bend the other leg, go back into goddess. Place our hands on our knees again, rise up our chest, and just move back and forth. I think that's wonderful. You held up to that. That was a lot going on.
Yeah, I'm feeling the burn.
That's awesome. That's great. All right, so let's go ahead and move our feet back to the center. That's like the time warp. Okay, so now we're going to do a couple of strength standing poses. So you know how we did chair pose before? Well, now we're going to do eagle pose. Remember when we did eagle pose in the chair on Monday? So now we're going to do it without the chair. So go ahead and sit your buns back like you're sitting in a chair. Take your right leg and bring it over your left leg. You can leave it hanging on the side if you want. I'm going to clip mine because I have that available to me. Sink lower. Take your arms up into elbow arms. Take your right arm under your left arm and put your hands together. Pull your belly button back against the spine as you sink into this. And then, like I said, find a gaze beyond your hands, just like an eagle would. Pulling your shoulders back as you're pulling your elbows forward and lifting them up. Remembering the focus and the discipline of the eagle. Creating your own eagle gaze. One more breath together. And then exhale, first unravel your arms, then unravel your legs, stand up, go ahead and wiggle them out. Now, when you're really, really strong, you'll be able to just effortlessly go from one leg an eagle to the other leg an eagle. Go ahead and sit your buns back again. Take your left leg, cross it over your right. Like I said, you can have your foot hanging if you want, or you can clip it behind your calf if that's available, okay? Elbow, robot arms again. Take your left arm, place it under the right and put your hands together. Pulling the belly button back against the spine, pulling your shoulder blades back onto the spine. While your shoulder blades are pulled back, you can lift up your elbows. So it's a movement of pulling your elbows forward and back, or forward and up, while you're pulling your shoulders back. So two really opposing forces. Oops, I'm about to fall out because I'm losing my concentration. And then find your fixed point gaze beyond your hands, remembering the discipline and the focus of the eagle. Very nice. Inhale, and then exhale, unravel your arms, unravel your legs, and go ahead and shake out that muscle energy. That's not an easy pose. Your heart rate's probably up right now. So we're gonna do one more standing pose, and that standing pose is going to be tree pose, if that's okay with you. So stand with both feet parallel to one another. You can leave your hands on your hips for now. Bend your right leg and turn it outward. Move your foot up against your ankle. So you can keep this as your posture. This is perfectly acceptable. So you're grounding with your feet. You're creating a stable base with your feet. If you want to stay with your foot anchored against your ankle and your toes anchored on the floor, that's okay. If you want to, you can pull your feet off, your toes off the floor, your right toes, and have it that way. You can bring your toes, your foot, up to your calf muscle and wrap your foot around the calf, or you can bring it all the way up to the top of the leg if that's available to you. It is your choice. Either way, push your foot into your leg and your leg into your foot to square off your hips and create a stable foundation. Pull your belly button against the spine as you're tipping your tailbone to the floor and then pulling your shoulders back, pulling your shoulder blades together down your back. Changes the whole thing, makes it feel so much stronger. You can remain in prayer pose, or you can do some playing around with the arms. So you can bring your arms up if you want, create branches of your trees. You can wiggle your leaves. Your fingers are like your leaves, right? You can create Dhammapadasana arms by patting your back with your left hand and grabbing your fingers, or with your right hand and grabbing your fingers with your left hand. That's an option. I have a whole circuit I go through. You can create reverse prayer with your arms if you choose. You can do anything you want with your arms. Sometimes it's nice to break it up because here you're standing, all this pressure on one leg. And then go ahead and inhale our hands up. Exhale, bring them to heart center. With control and grace, let down that right leg. Shake out your left. Very nice. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So stand with your feet parallel, bend your left leg and turn your knee out. Bring your heel up against your ankle with your toes still on the floor. That's the first variation. You can bring your toes up off the floor, like pointing towards the floor but not touching it. You can bring them up to wrap around your calf. Or ultimately, you can bring your foot all the way up to the top of the leg. Yogi's choice. Whatever makes you feel most secure. Pushing your foot into the leg and leg into the foot as you bring your hips slightly forward. Pulling your belly button into the spine. Pull your shoulders back down, away from the ears and down your spine. You have the option to just stay here, or you can do some arm play. Yogi's choice. All the options I told you before, you can exercise at your own will. If you choose Dhammapadasana arms, reverse them this time. It'll be a different experience, right to left. It's up to you. Bring our hands up to the sky on the inhale. Exhale, bring them in prayer pose down to the heart center. With control and grace, let your left leg down, shake it out. Very good, that was awesome. You did a great job. Let me check the time. So we're at 7:47. We are doing so good. This is excellent. Okay, so let's move down to the floor. Let's do some good strengthening exercises for the core down on the floor. So we'll work our way down to the floor using sun salutation, using our downward dog. So inhale our hands up. Exhale, fold forward. Feel the difference in this forward fold. You've been warming up these muscles. They probably have a lot of extension now. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale your hands down. Move back into a plank pose. Lower down Chaturanga Dandasana and then inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. And And hold that for 5 breaths. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. Exhale completely. Bend your knees. And you can hop all the way to your hands, or you can walk up, or you can even do baby hops all the way up. And then once you've reached your hands, let's just stay kind of in this bunny hop position. So let's widen our feet into Malasana. So we did that the other day. Remember Wednesday morning we did Malasana. Okay, so you have your feet underneath your knees, and we are working Malasana by pushing our knees apart with our elbows, rising our chest and pulling our shoulders down our back. And just enjoy this opening of this. It just feels good. It's very good for your lower back. It's very good for your hips. Do you want to try a bind in Malasana today?
Sure.
Okay, it's not that hard. So what you do is you take your right hand and place it, so you want to kind of inch your shoulder underneath your knee. Okay, so inside your knee, but kind of work it so that your knee is a little bit higher than your shoulder, okay? And then take your hand and place it out to the side as far as you're able to. Then take your other hand, your left hand, and come around. So you're just gonna kind of wrap it around your body. Then take this hand that was out to the side and curl it underneath, and then just wiggle it so that you get your hands clasped, okay? It looks prettier on some than others. All that I care about is that you're able to reach. If you're not able to reach, don't worry, just work on the twist. Just work on reaching for it. And then you just kind of look up to the left as you're working that twist. And you can adjust your hands so that you can have a greater opening. And just enjoy. It's really warm out here on my deck, so my body is really happy right now. And then you can gently release that bind. If you want to ease up out of Malasana briefly before we go back down, you can. Just kind of allow the blood to rush back in. And then go ahead and sit back down in Malasana. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you're going to take your left hand, kind of put your left elbow inside your knee and lower than your knee. Place your arm on the floor, out to a diagonal as far as you can go. Okay? And then take your right hand, wrap it around, and then wiggle your left arm underneath your leg and clasp your hands. So you'll see that I kind of move to the left a little when I do that. I shouldn't be. I should be having more opening in my shoulders, but I don't do this one enough to have that open. And then just keep on working it. Twisting and looking to the left. If you need to adjust by moving your hips back and forth, go ahead and do that. Do whatever you got to do. Very nice. Unravel out of that. Go ahead and stand up out of Malasana again to allow the blood to rush back to your legs. And then if you really want to stretch out the back of your legs, this is your time. You have your feet at hip distance. If you want to grab your ankles and just bring your chest forward down to the floor and just increase that stretch on the back of your legs, now's a good time to do that. Very, very nice. So let's move back into downward facing dog. Moving all the way back. And then let's bring our right foot, mine's hitting the deck there. Bring it up into the air, and then on the exhale, bring knee to nose, turn your leg, and place your shin down on the floor. So we're setting up for pigeon pose, okay? So some people are so open in their hips, they've got this front leg parallel to the mat. I haven't been able to do that ever. I would have to be working this pose several times a day, every day. I don't have that kind of time. But you can really increase the stretch all along your right hip, by lifting your chest up. And if you want to, you can just keep on working your left foot backwards, which creates a stretch along your left hip, the front of it, and along the outside of your right hip. And just enjoy that stretch a little bit, lifting up your spine, lifting up your heart center. And then exhale, fold over that front leg. You can leave your hands back where they are. You can reach them far out in front if that works for you. And then just lay down across your right leg and enjoy that stretch. And we'll stay here for a few breaths. Inhale, rise up. Now, if you want to, you can just sit up some more, or you can reach back and grab your left leg with your left hand and just work your heel towards your buttocks. And then let that down gracefully and move back slowly into downward facing dog. Allow the blood to rush back into your foot. Extend in your dog. Enjoy that extension. And then inhale your left leg up. And then exhale, bring your knee to nose. Twist your left knee to the outside as you lay your shin down. And then ultimately allow your right leg to sit down too. Allow your front of your hip to stretch and open up as you kind of inchworm your right foot backwards, keeping your left foot stationary. And then go ahead and rise up your chest by pushing down on the ground, like there's a string in the sky pulling your chest upward. One more inhale. And then exhale, lay down over your left leg. You can stay up high on your elbows if you want, or you can reach your hands all the way out in front. And enjoy that stretch for several breaths.
Great. I'm proud of you. So really good.
Go ahead and inhale back up, moving your hands backwards in space. You can sit all the way up like you were. Or you can reach back and grab your right foot with your right hand and work on pulling your heel towards your buttock. And then you can gradually let that down with some grace. Move back into downward facing dog again, allowing all the blood to rush back into your left leg. Push your back dog back as far as you can. This will be your last one of the day. Make the most of it. Pulling your hip high into the sky as you allow your heart center to descend towards the mat. One more inhale. And then exhale, go ahead and drop to your knees. And just briefly sit back on your legs. So what you can do is go ahead and point your toes to the floor like, you know, we're sitting on our heels basically, but we're stretching out our foot. So our toes are on the floor, our hips are, our heels are up high, and we're just stretching out the foot by doing that. We don't have to do it for long, but it's nice to stretch out the feet. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and sit back down in between our feet. So we're going to move our feet to the outside. So you've got them together here, move them to the outside, and then sit down in between our feet. So this is hero pose. Some people find this pose difficult. If you do, you can always sit on top of something, or you can just sit back on your shins and legs the way I showed you when we first started. So sit up nice and tall. This is rotating your hips in and creating a very deep stretch in your knees, but this is very good for the joints to create that kind of flexion. And then if you want, you can kind of like, you know, massage your feet, push down on all your toes, squeeze your feet, squeeze especially your arches of your feet, squeeze your heels, right? You can massage your lower legs if you want even. Just massaging things out. Very nice. And then go ahead and move out of that. Sit back on your left hip and then move your legs forward. So now we're sitting in staff pose, Dandasana. So in staff pose, I'm going to move forward just slightly on my mat. I just want you to concentrate on sitting up high and kind of moving into your back body plane like you do in Tadasana. Keeping your feet flexed and looking your toes towards the ceiling. You might have a slight bend in your legs to maintain that. That's totally acceptable if you need to bend your legs up slightly. Mine are straight, but this takes a lot of strength just to sit like this. There's a lot of work going on just sitting in staff pose. Let's go ahead and do some seated spinal twists before we lay down in Shavasana for our final rest. So take your left leg, bend it, and bring it over your right leg, close to your hip, as close as you can get it. You can leave your right leg straight if you want, or you can curl it underneath your hip. The choice is yours. Go ahead and lift up nice and high. You have the option to just hug your knee to your chest as you turn over your left shoulder. You have the option to take your right wrist, your right elbow, and clip it over. I've been choosing the hug my leg option lately because it feels so good. So I'm going to hug my leg close to my chest, pulling it up as I look over my left shoulder. And you can twist as much as you want. You really can't hurt yourself. But when you're hugging your leg like this, it almost creates a more stable base. And you're getting an increased stretch along the outside of your left hip when you do that. Hey, I just think that's really lovely.
It's about on par with the same one. It's not rotating. I think there's enough scar tissue in there that it doesn't like push it up on the way up. But it's extremely
And then you can go ahead and release that gently. Place your feet out in front of you again. Take your right leg, bend it, place it on the outside of your left leg. You can leave your left leg straight if you choose, or you can bend it underneath your right hip if you choose. It's up to you. I'm going to go ahead and hug my right leg next to me, okay? And then I'm going to start to turn and look out over my right shoulder. Hugging my leg tightly as I do it. The tighter you hug it, the greater the stretch you get along your right hip. Pulling my right shoulder back as I look over. And just pulling it tightly against you. Hugging, hugging, hugging. Very nice. Inhale. And then exhale. Go ahead and unravel that. Now, if you want, we can start to work our way down into a laying down pose. So go ahead and hold the front of your knees. We're just going to work our abs a little bit on the way down. Inhale your crown of the head to the sky. And then exhale, leaving your hands resting on the front of your knees. Go ahead and move your torso back in space, creating a V with your torso and your legs. So this is like a mini boat pose. Pulling your shoulders down your spine. Very nice. Inhale. And then exhale, lay all the way back down, using the strength of your abs to curl down gently. Take your time. Make the most of it. Ah! And now you arrive down, laying down on the ground. So go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Make a nice tight little ball. And then go ahead and drop your legs to the right, creating a supine spinal twist, tacking your left shoulder onto the floor. And then inhale, bring your legs to the center, hug them again. And then on the exhale, drop them to the left, tucking your right shoulder to the mat, looking over your right shoulder. Very nice. Go ahead and bring your knees up above your torso. Hug your knees to your chest again. And then go ahead and drop your right leg as you hug your right knee very tightly to the chest, creating tension your right hip. You can even pull it more to the outside of the ribs towards your armpit. Very nice. Let the right leg down as you pull your left leg up. And do the same thing on the left side, pulling your knee tightly against the chest, creating a pinch in your left hip. You can pull it towards your armpit outside of your ribs. Very nice. You can gently let that leg back down and start to get into your Shavasana. Go ahead and do a little bit of wiggle of your hips to even out the space between your sacroiliac joints. Relax your feet. Create a stable base for your back and for your neck to rest. Hands are facing the ceiling or the sky. Arms are to the side. Your feet have kind of fallen out. Your hips have opened a little bit. And let's start to do a scan of the body. Bringing your attention to your feet. Releasing any tension in your toes or in your arches or on the top of your foot. Releasing any kind of tension in your ankles. Relaxing your thigh muscles. Relaxing all of your lower ab muscles and all the space across the front of your hip bone. Relaxing the belly. Relaxing the back muscles and allowing the mat to firmly support your hips and your upper back. Relaxing your chest muscles and your shoulders and your hands and your forearms. Relax all the muscles of your neck. Pull your jawbone slightly away, leaving a little opening, drawing your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Create a sensation like all the skin of your face is melting towards the mat, relaxing all of your face muscles. Relaxing your ears and all the skin on your cranium. Allowing your eyebrows to kind of drip down, smoothing out the lines of your forehead. And just lay here and rest in Shavasana for 5 minutes. I will bring you back in with my voice. Okay, so let's come back into the present. That was Eric Whitaker's October, and it's a beautiful piece that recently I was part of, so I thought I would share it with you tonight. Inhale your hands overhead. Exhale your hands down. Inhale your hands up. Exhale your hands out and down. One more inhale. Exhale your hands to your forehead. Exhale them to your heart center. Bow your head. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you for this beautiful evening workout, this beautiful summertime workout. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. The light in me sees the light in you. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. Namaste. And that was great. I'm so glad that you came into it. It was wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us,